Hello, welcome to Wisdom Hour. I'm sorry I'm late. Tut tut tut. But hopefully my client is happy because that's what held me up, and my clients always take my first priority. So today we're going to get straight into doing a few questions that people have sent in, and I'm going to do some surrogate muscle testing, okay, to see if we can help. So the first one I have here, I've been told that my great physical pain is caused by my suppressed emotions. I don't get it. How can emotions create physical symptoms and pain? That's a very good question. Okay, let's see if we can get an answer for that for this lady or person. Okay. Talk about the statement, a question, what, why, when, how. How will you know whether your pain is coming from a suppressed source of emotion? Your pain is always getting confused with any emotional content in the body which has not been processed. A source of this pain is usually from past events where you didn't have the resources to know how to process the pain, and so gave it up in return for being able to cope. It sounds good, doesn't it, to give up your pain, your emotional pain, but when we separate from ourselves and don't feel our pain and get to learn from it, it becomes stuck in our system and doesn't move until we actually feel it and process it. These emotional feelings are always building up in the body, and they don't cause us harm if we are continually expressing them through practical pursuits like the arts, where we can express our emotions through dance or drama or singing or playing music or writing poetry or prose or anything like that which has an emotional component. The arts become even more powerful as a means of emotional processing when we do them with the intention of processing pain from an event in our lives. That's why you'll often find the most beautiful songs are those about pain and suffering, or great general angst about things in the world or in the person's personal past. Anything else? Anything else? Anything else? Anything else? Anything else? Anything else? Okay. So, saying that, it's just really easy for our system to get confused between physical pain and emotional pain, and that they sort of run together throughout the body, okay? And until we actually process our emotional pain, it can keep building up in the body, all right? And cause great blockages in our energy, leading to extreme tiredness or great anxiety or great depression, or it can come out even deeper than that later on in life in physical symptoms that represent emotional stress in the body. So that's maybe a little thing to think about. Now, obviously, if you've just broken your leg, right, it's pretty obvious that that pain in your leg is coming from something very physical. You have broken your leg, yes. But the trauma of breaking your leg won't be processed unless you feel that fear and general worry about yourself, and get to view it as a challenge that you can overcome. This is the learning in the emotional experience that is beneficial for us and expands our ability to practice mindfulness when things happen that are distressing. When we become mindless, when something is distressing, we go into a form of shock, and this means we separate from our mind to cope. This is due to not having enough resources, to manage the emotions in the situation. Anything else? Okay, so that is kind of interesting, isn't it? Yeah, okay, is that all we've got to say about it? That's all we've got to say about it for today. Right. Number 2. I am being pressured too much at work and can't sleep. I'm too stressed to practice any sort of exercise to get my feet back on the ground and all of it. How will my way forward be if I don't change my job? Okay. I think she also said something about, she just couldn't cope with the idea of looking for a job either. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to write that down. But I remember that, yeah, she said something about that as well. She just felt like it was too much to look for a new job because she's just already in overwhelm and all of that, okay? So, okay, just need to get my little set of inner wires. Where it is. Oh, there's no hold them. I just need to put them. Just put them on my fingers. Just these little energy cards like that. By Dr. Uwe Albrecht. Little first aid kit he has here. Okay. Your overwhelm isn't equal to your fear of how you will cope in the future if this continues. You are more afraid of that than of being overwhelmed now. You are able to get some time off and consider your options. You must take some time off, whether it be sick leave or annual leave or leave without pay, and calm down enough to think clearly about your situation. Your general overwhelm won't go away if you continue working in this way, and it will lead to burnout over time. So now is the time to take time and focus on how you can either change things at work through making a case for a less stressful environment, i.e. getting very clear about how you are being treated and asking for changes. You can do this in a very professional way, which will not there's valuable understanding here for you, which will not make you appear vulnerable or generally ungrateful. You are worried about what your boss will think and how this person will view you if you make these suggestions and requests. But the truth is, they don't understand how much pressure they are putting on you, and they will not understand until you clearly present a case to them to show that there is great demands being put on you that are unsustainable. Once they understand this and recognize that unless something changes, you may look for another job, nothing will change at work. You need to write out all of the demands and expectations that are placed on you at work and get clear as to how you want your job to be and look, and start to formulate a way of shaping this within your working world. Question, statement, anything else? Anything else? Okay, so how will my way forward be if I don't change my job? Okay, so yeah, so that was it, wasn't it? She was saying, I remember she said something about, well, I think it's a she, I'm not sure, might not be, that she, didn't feel she could go looking for another job. It was just too much. It just felt, outside of what she could do. So yeah, how will my way forward be if I don't change my job? So I think it's saying there, take some time out, take a bit of leave, take whatever leave you need to. Go somewhere, calm down, go and lie on a beach somewhere, and just chill out for a while to get your clarity back, and then really look at it in the round and write things down, and then look at a very professional way of asking where you're working to work with you to make your job sustainable. Okay? So, and you may need to, if you feel you need support because you are in overwhelm, think about getting some help from a coach or something like that, to help you put things in a way that you, as I say, won't make you look vulnerable, and it won't make you look stroppy, and it won't, it'll just come across as really professional and really correct, that you are bringing these things to your boss's attention. Yeah? So good luck with that. Okay, number 3. Food and wine are easy places for me to seek comfort. How can I get comfort that is good for me? Oh God, I know this one. I love my food and my wine too. Yes, so I'm going to piggyback on this one, I think. Right. You won't find any comfort in your food and drink if the source of your discomfort is emotional. And that is what makes you keep eating and keep drinking. Because no matter how much you have, you cannot satisfy the problem. Your emotional consumption won't get you anywhere, but you can work on your emotional health by placing yourself with an ally who can help you to unravel your emotional pain and process it. This can be done through a good counsellor or psychotherapist or other types of alternative practices. Find an ally. Find an ally that you feel very comfortable with and that you trust, and be open to getting clarity around the emotional load that you are carrying. Once you identify this load and what it consists of, you can work on releasing this emotional stress, and this release will get you what is it? Adult, child, the childhood. Will get you, or your inner child, daring to be understood. Daring to be understood, the inner child. This is the great need that you have, and until your inner child feels heard and understood and loved for what and who she is, your pain will keep you turning to food and drink to keep these very uncomfortable feelings down and suppressed. Anything else? Yes. Okay. Find somebody really nice to work with. Yeah. Might be the best money you ever spend. Unraveling that emotional pain. And, you know, most people have it somewhere along the line, you know, so, because we're human. We all tend to have a bit of pain locked away somewhere. Yes. Next one. Okay. My daughter is under massive stress. She did something totally out of character. Now it appears she is having panic attacks. How can I help my daughter when she doesn't want my help? Oh, that's a difficult one, isn't it, for a mum or a dad? Okay, so what could this be? Happy to come to energy field. Which energy field should I come into? Mum's? Oh, is she happy for me to come in though? She is. She's all right with me coming in. Okay. Oh, is this okay? All right. So I need a smell in here, over there, next door. I need a smell for her. I have to run out and get a smell. 2 seconds. Okay, so the smell that I've asked her is oregano. It's not smelling very pleasant to me, so I guess that's something to do with what she's going through. Okay. Did I have enough? This is towards mum, not the child. You won't get her to listen to you until she feels that you are you are present enough for her to really be heard. At the moment, you are stressing so much about her that you can't help her. And at some level, she knows this. You would do best to practice some form of meditation or sit very still and allow all your fears to come up about this incident and simply feel them. When you feel your fears for her, you will not project those fears onto her, thereby making her feel worse. This is about owning our own feelings and making sure we don't project them onto others. It is easy to make the mistake of getting confused about why we need to feel our own feelings. As a parent, of course, you want to be the strong and stable one for your children. But if this means suppressing your own feelings, then you don't what? You don't get the great fear. I've lost that now. What does that mean? Let me start again. Thank you. Question statement. When you don't feel your feelings from trying to be the strong one and instead project those feelings onto someone else, because that is what happens if we don't own our own feelings, then it is impossible for the other person to feel trusting in you as the parent. It is therefore necessary to sit with your own feelings about this incident and simply feel all of those feelings about it, knowing that when you do so, you will not continue to project them onto your daughter. She already has her own feelings to deal with, and this is why she can't discuss this with you, because she naturally feels her load is added to when you are getting anxious and worried about her. The best thing you can do is to take that time to feel your feelings and get clear that they are your feelings, not hers, because there is a great mix-up between your and her feelings. You both aren't quite sure where each of you ends and where the other begins. And this does not help the situation. However, this is remedied by taking full responsibility for your own feelings and then greeting her with a clear emotional slate about the problem. It is then that you can be helpful to her, and she will sense that and trust that it won't upset you if she talks about herself and her feelings. Okay, I hope that is helpful to get things moving there, alright? It is a common one in families, you know, where we get our energies mixed up and we're not sure, and then we're trying to be the strong one and we're suppressing all of our stuff and we don't realise we're projecting it. It's coming out everywhere else. Other people can see it, but we just can't see it because it's in our shadow. So it's kind of interesting, isn't it? Yeah. So good luck with that. It's tough, I know. Parenting is the toughest job in the world. And I do hope that, you know, you're both feeling a bit better soon about all of this. Okay. How we doing? I have foot pain. I've given up sugar, increased water intake, and improved my diet. Is there anything else I could be doing to help it? Okay. Should I mention the one before? Right, no, just that. Okay. Am I reversed? Oh. Okay, I just need to take a moment. Probably a drink of water, actually. Now. Okay. Is that enough? Still reversed? Yes, give me a no. No, I'm okay. Not enough water. That was the problem. Just a bit more. Okay, so I have foot pain, I've given up sugar, increased water intake and improved my diet. Is there anything else I can be doing to help it? Oh, why am I still reversed? Oh, heavens above. Sorry, I just have to do a little bit of my own 1, 2, 3 medicine for myself now, because something about that last one has just sort of thrown me a little bit out of kilter. So I'm just going to give myself a little bit of energy stuff, medicine here as well. Yeah, so I really feel for people going through these sorts of things, you know. I think it is really hard because you can almost, it's palpable, the love that's there for this child, you know, and you just feel it, when you read people putting things in, and you know how tough it is for them when they so want to help. And it's so hard for them to know how when their child just is backing off and going, I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to talk to anyone about it. It's really tough. Is that enough? Not for me. Can I use? I'm back. Okay. So about this foot pain. Question, statement. Your foot pain won't move unless you get clear that it is really nothing to do with your diet or any physical cause. In this instance, your foot keeps giving you messages that your way forward is blocked and you are getting frustrated by this perceived block. Perceived because it is in fact not real, but is a hangover from a time in your life where you in fact were greatly held back. This was when you were quite young, and so you don't really remember it, but it is in fact still working its way through you. You are doing some work to begin to unravel this, but your general place in this work isn't moving you forward because you keep on distracting yourself with all of the present problems you feel you need to deal with. But the work on this inner child is the most important work for you to do because it impacts on everything. Okay, so it's just saying, basically really stick with it, with whatever the inner child work that you're doing, because that's where the real unraveling of this is for you. It's not in your diet. It's not a physical health issue for you. This is an emotional issue for you about a sense of feeling blocked, and that is something to be unraveled, going right back. And you've started to do it, but it's saying you're getting yourself a bit distracted by maybe all these sense of pressure of all these other things you have to do. But it says stay focused on that, keep doing the work and keep reprogramming that way, because that's where the real answer for you is in this particular issue. Alright? Hopefully that will help. Okay, so the last one. I have pressure in my pelvic area for the last few months and it feels like a bladder issue. I took herbal medicine and it calmed down, but it's flaring up again. Is it linked to being emotionally stressed? It makes me feel irritated and I notice it when I stop. For example, when I'm trying to sleep or I'm sitting down, you know, that kind of thing. When she stops, kind of, I suppose, being focused on other things. Right, okay. Yes. Oh, why am I reversing again? I need to sit down. Oh, I seem to be going through the water today like a blinking tap. When you're doing muscle testing, being hydrated is really, really important. And if I ever get muddy responses with clients when they're on my table, I always have to get them to drink as well because it's, you know, we're basically more water than anything, so all of our impulses all go through or are carried through by water in the body. And so if we're even slightly dehydrated, it can really mess up our responses, especially for muscle testing. So I'm just going to go back now. Pressure in the pelvic area. Okay. Give me a yes. Give me no. Yes. I'm back again. You feel this pressure in your pelvis because you won't place yourself in the middle of your energy, no. Your EU. The middle of your EU brain. I'll explain that in a moment. You won't place yourself in the middle of your EU brain and get clear and make a decision about your life. Now, can I just explain the EU brain? I love this. This has come up a few times for people. So if you think about the EU, right, where they all sit around and they make these decisions over there, right, for all the countries and all that. But citizens like us, we don't usually get a say, right, in that. Although these days we have to be doing petitions and getting somewhere. But generally, you know, it's like, if you imagine that your executive function of your brain is like the EU. And it's like the EU says, well, what we say goes, you know, and you countries, your heart, your gut, your liver, your kidney, everything else, you just have to toe the line because we've made the decision and that's the new law. So we're going to ignore now whatever the rest of these countries say because we've made the decision. So that's like our will, you know. So the EU mind, if you like, is like the will that goes, no matter what, I'm not going to think about that. Or no matter what, I'm not going to feel that, you know. It's almost like it's a decision that's made and we deliberately don't listen to our heart or our gut or our whatever. We just decide, no, I don't want to know about it. So that's what they mean by the EU brain. God help us with Brexit. Goodness knows what analogy that would be with our bodies. That'd be interesting. Anyway, so in that context, let's see what it says. Your EU brain doesn't want to listen to your organs and practice democracy with them. In other words, it will not let them get a word in. and your urinary system, not just your bladder, but your urinary system is complaining. It is telling you that it fears the future and doesn't want to face and doesn't want to face every fear by itself. Your urinary system includes your bladder and your kidneys and all of the tubes in between, for want of a better word. This system won't get you to face your fears if your EU keeps saying, I refuse to feel fear. Question the statement. Your best bet is to get clear that you do have some fears rumbling around in you, and sit quietly and acknowledge them and express them either onto paper or through some form of expressive art, and present this back to your urinary system. What the hell does that mean? God knows. You can do this by getting a glass of water and placing it on your writing or your picture or in front of the music so it vibrates into it, and drinking it and asking your urinary system to forgive you for not listening. Wow, that's a bit out there, isn't it? Sorry. But, okay, well, why not? Certainly can't hurt you, right? Can't hurt you. So why wouldn't you give that a go? As an added precaution, in case this increases in you, make sure you are medically assessed just in case. This is always worth doing because your kidneys are very valuable, and if they are weakened, they can get infected easily. So give your urinary system a chance to get clear of this fear by you expressing it. And don't ignore your symptoms, because even though the deep cause is coming from an emotional issue, this doesn't mean that there could be a real physical issue there. And as said before, you don't want bacteria from the outside becoming entrenched in your bladder or kidneys. This is not good. So be sensible and also get the required urine samples, etc., to make sure you don't have this type of infection going on. But if you don't want repeat infections, then as well as taking what you need to, get clear that expressing your fears and allowing them to surface, to be acknowledged and expressed, will balance out this problem and make this system generally stronger. Okay, so yeah, I think that's just wise. I always tell people that, anything really, if it's a matter of, you just need to go and get a test or something, I'd get it, because I'm a great believer that intelligent people get as much information as they can from as many sources as they can when there's a problem to solve. So, you don't want to be ignoring things that could end up, turning into an infection, or it is an infection and it works its way up into your kidneys. That would not be good. So, I would, something like that, I think I would probably go and get a urine test and just see if you've got any bacteria or anything going on in there as well. But as it said, just be clear that that's the physical side of it. But if you want to get to the root cause, then you need to go back at what's actually putting the strain on that system in the first place. Okay? Which it says for you is an emotional issue. Feels like a bladder issue. But yeah, I would. Something like that. I think I would just go to my doctor and get some tests and just tell him, because, as I say to him, he might examine you and go, oh, well, actually, it's not your bladder, it's something else. And I would never want to be the person that kind of stops you from going off and getting the information you need, right? You want to make sure that, you get the treatment that you need if that's the case. So, yeah, I'd say anything like that. If you haven't already had medical assessment, go pop off to your doctor and get it. Just to cover all your bases. That's what I believe in. It's just sensible, isn't it? Okay, guys, that's us for today. Sorry I was a bit late starting, but that's life, I can't just say to my clients, would you just pop off now because I've got something else I have to do. But I'm going to go down and hopefully, if somebody gets back to me, I hope to be able to make it down to the climate change, what do you call it? The march today down in Cork, because all these wonderful students all across the world are striking today, and I just want to show some solidarity and support with them. So I do hope some of that has helped you today, and if you feel you need more information in a more personal way, you can come and do a half-hour free session with me through a bit.ly link, which I'll give to you, okay? So, and that's just one per person. So, don't suffer in silence. If you need help, go and get it. And as I say, always look for as much information as you can. I really do believe in getting it from all angles. Go online, do your research online, seek people out who may have a different angle that come at it. Get your doctor's reports and all of that if you're trying to cure something. Leave no stone unturned if you want things to get better. That's a good thing to do. Take care, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Have a lovely weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.